Going to issue a dividend to our middle income people and lower income people of about $2,000. And we're going to use the remaining tariffs to lower our debt. We're going to be lowering our debt, which is a national security thing. So we're doing a lot of good work. And the numbers were reported so incorrectly. The real numbers are trillions of dollars have been taken in or gotten in terms of investment from the tariffs. And so if that were ever reversed, it would be a disaster. Frankly, it would be a national security problem for our country. And nobody thinks it's going to be reversed. I think we had a very good court case. As you know, it's before the Supreme Court right now. But if that were ever reversed, people are saying, oh, it's $1 billion. Some people said, oh, it's $2 billion. Well, that obviously we can handle very easily. But this is trillions of dollars we're talking about in terms of the tariff income and all the investment income that's come into our country.
We all know he lying. But I'm going to believe the jump when I see the money in my checking account. Y'all remember them stimulus checks that we got on his first term? If he actually does it again, that's when I believe it. Like, real deal. But I'm thinking right now, if he put that money in our accounts, if they put this money in our accounts, I'm going on the trip. I don't care what y'all say. Listen, that's y'all president. That's who y'all voted for. This is what y'all wanted. Y'all wanted a government shutdown. We had a government shutdown during his first term. But that's neither here nor there. But I asked y'all, what was y'all going to do with y'all money if and when y'all get it?
I find it funny because people like her shouldn't take the damn money then. Because she's sitting here saying he lying, but then she's going to turn around and say she'll believe it when it go on her checking account. And then justifies if he does do it, not to give him a credit and not to give him the credit and actually take back that she accused him of lying, but then double downs and say she gonna go on a trip with it, but still ain't gonna hold herself accountable to say that he lying if he don't cut the $2,000 check. So you want the money, but you want to discredit the man that's actually putting things in place for you to get the money in the first place, and then call out his first term of the government shutdown. But if you really know deep down what these politicians is playing political games or political theater, you would know that most of these people have Trump derangement syndrome, but she don't mind through the crap or mind or watch any type of political commentary that's factual and truth to actually know the truth, because she's worrying about a handout more than actually know what's going on to vote in the right person that has your best interest, let alone America's best interest, to negotiate on the best of your behalf in the long term, which you're ignorant behind, to make sure that things are actually put in place, because that's what the president do. Okay, he's the chief in office when it comes to the military, but then also he negotiates deals on the best interest of Americans. So in the long run, it benefits us and it helps the economy, helps generations to come, instead of tearing them down and creating degenerate generations like an ignorant individual like herself. Now, when you look at all this thing, because let's talk about this whole $2,000 tariff dividend check, right? Trump talking about, because y'all been blowing it up like it's some wild promise he just pulled out of thin air. Because here's what's crazy. This ain't random. This ain't no fantasy money. This is part of something way bigger. And Trump ain't just talking about spending people free money for no reason. This is connected to what he calls, which passed in July. The bill was the big beautiful bill, and a lot of folks clearly don't understand what this bill actually is, and what it's doing, or why people ain't felt the effects yet. So I'm gonna walk you through this whole thing step by step in plain English with logic, context, and real life comparisons. So even if you ain't been keeping up with politics, you're gonna still walk away from this video understand what the hell is going on. So let's start with the checks, right? Trump says straight up, you guys seen in the clip, we're gonna issue $2,000 checks to lower and middle income Americans. And we're gonna use this remaining tariff money to pay down the debt. I guarantee you her ignorant behind ain't hear nothing but $2,000 checks. That's the problem. So now off top, some folks hearing that, they going, oh man, he capping, he lying, I'll believe it when it hits my account. Okay, fair, whatever. I feel that. But we've been promised a lot in the past and never seen a dime. I get it. But I also remember when Trump sent out the stimulus checks during COVID, his first term. And yeah, a lot of people clowned it until that money showed up. And then all of a sudden folks were quiet. Now he's doubling down again. Why? Because people hurting. Bad inflation took um inflation is sky high, and so he took $2,000. um Inflation took $2,000 out of the average American's purchasing power under Biden, right? Because you have to realize that the impacts we're feeling now was years of decisions in the Biden administration. You have to realize when it comes to these politicians, and whether you are political or not, you still didn't know what's going on because it affects your life. And you need to respect the law of the land and also understand that whether you want to be big on politics or not, they are making decisions on the behalf of your life and how things are going to be up and running. And you're going to have to comply regardless. So you might as well get with it and hush it up. And the things that the Biden administration did 4 years of, you can't just undo overnight. And that's why I'm saying people are hurting bad. Inflation took $2,000 out of average Americans' purchasing power under Biden. And Trump is like, I want to give that back. Not with new spending, not with fake money, but with tariff revenue. Basically, the money we got from tax and imports mean goods from other countries like China. And he's not wrong. The money is real. It's in the government's pocket already. And he's saying, let's give a piece of it back. Now, here's the deeper part people miss. Trump ain't just talking about this check like it's a bailout. This is a stimulus rooted in supply side economics, right? And we're going to get to this article next that I want to show you guys in regards of the big, beautiful bill and how it was going to benefit the low income to working class individuals in the first place, because he already put things in place for the long term. This bill passed in July. It only been a year into the Trump administration, his second term, as he's the current sitting president. You act like this shit was going to happen within a year and happen once he passed the bill in July, that it was actually going to take effect in September. It don't work like that. So you have to think long term. And the problem is a lot of people ain't thinking long term. They want it right now. But they didn't hold the administration previous to the actions they took. They just let them do whatever when you see them sending monies to other countries like water. So, like I said, this stimulus is rooted in supply side economics, which is what the whole beautiful bill is based on. So let me break this down clearly. The big beautiful bill is not a quick hit plan. It's a long game economic play. It's about giving businesses and people the space to thrive through tax cuts, deregulation, and investment friendly policies so that the whole economy can grow from the supply side. That means you cut taxes, you make it easier to do business, and over time, that leads to more production, more hiring, and better wages, and eventually more money in people's pockets. And I know a lot of people going to say, "Oh, well, all these layoffs and stuff." Well, you have to realize that the previous administration juiced the numbers to make it like they were having job creation increase, but they were actually fake jobs that were never actually existing in the first place. So now, if you want to make sure that it's done the right way, you have to tear the whole thing down and do an economic reset and make sure things the right way, where there's actually lucrative jobs that's actually paying high wages, where individuals, which is the average Americans, can actually have more money in their pockets to live and do more things, and they can eat and play at the same time. Right? So the key word is eventually. This type of policy ain't like flipping a switch. It takes time. So this is where folks are getting frustrated, and that's where Trump is responding, because people are here saying he didn't do anything. Where's the results? But in reality is the results are coming. You just don't feel them yet. And that's what I'm trying to say. If you haven't changed your withholdings on your paycheck, and let's say, for example, when you file taxes, you put 0 to get the maximum amount of taxes took out your check. And let's say you've been working overtime, your tax refund this coming season about to be fatter than you expected. Why? Because of how the big beautiful bill changed your taxes. But people don't want to wait until tax season to feel the benefit. They hurting right now. And that's why Trump's saying, okay, I'll go ahead and throw out the $2,000 checks. It's not just about generosity. It's about public perception. Because if you got a policy that works long term, but people feel broke short term, that's the problem. And he knows that politically, economically, socially, and that's the problem. So he's trying to fix it both ways, giving people long-term growth and short-term relief. And that's the only way you survive in this political climate. Because let's be honest, the numbers don't lie. We are currently experiencing the worst consumer sentiment in 70 years, according to the University of Michigan. Let that sink in. 70 years. 70 years. And that means people feel worse about their personal economic situation than during a recession, during the gas crisis, even the Great Recession, worse than in 2008. And you think they care about um GDP? And when it comes to GDP basically means, for those who do not know, that is gross domestic product, right? Which means the amount for the cost and the value of how much goods and services are, right? When it comes to consumption, for example, streaming services, gas, essentials, everyday home good essentials, food, right? So that's GDP growth, right? They don't care about the rebounds in regards of things being cheaper because they don't see it right now. They care that groceries is high, rent due, and their paycheck feel like a joke, and that's real. That's why this man is putting pressure on Congress and the courts to push these checks through. And even if you really paying attention, he ain't pulling this out his ass because his economic advisors, like, I'm not sure if you guys know, Kevin Bassett, that's his economic advisor, and he's also a tax strategist. He um already confirmed it's very possible. Okay. So this is CNBC. This is the most pro democratic. I really call them MSNBC. I mean, well, MSNBC, NBC, they all basically pro democratic bias networks and, articles and stuff like that. Mainstream media. But it says taxpayers may see record tax refund season in 2026 due to Trump's big, beautiful bill. Now, I broke it down to you already in regards to that. And I'll break it down a little bit more because when it comes to the big, beautiful bill, because I really want people to understand what the hell because I don't think they understand it. When you look at it, what's in the big, beautiful bill is that when I mention supply side economics, and it's a boring term, sounds like a college professor, something a college professor would say. But in real people terms, instead of the government just handing out cash and benefits on the front end, Trump's strategy is let's cut taxes and regulations to create more incentive for businesses and people to produce and let that new growth trickle back down into creating more jobs, more money in your paycheck, wages, salaries, investments, and savings. That's it. That's the core of it. You create the environment, you let businesses eat, let people keep more of the money they earn. Then sit back and let that stimulate the economy from the supply side because now there's more supply in regards of businesses having room to be able to pay more and produce more and also create more jobs, and the demand of the cost of living being so much, it will overtake that because now individuals have more breathing room and more money in their pockets. And I know people is always, especially with Democrats, when it comes to cutting taxes for corporations, right? Is that bad? Because I know people get mad and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, the bill cut corporate taxes. That means he want to help his rich buddies, and he wants to give tax cuts to the rich." But it went from 35% of taxing big corporations to 21%, right? And you may ask, why are we giving rich CEOs tax breaks and how does this help me? Well, but you got to listen. If you're thinking short term, I get it. But what you're not seeing is a lower corporate tax rate does two major things. It makes America more competitive globally, and it encourages companies to bring money back to the United States and invest here instead of overseas to create more jobs, more factories, more offices, and more money flowing through local economies in America. And you think businesses care about being patriotic and making sure they create a job for you? They don't care about that. What they care about is where they keep the most money. And Trump said, cool, make America the spot where it makes sense to invest. where they keep more of their money. And it's like this: if you run a business, because a lot of people don't care until it affects them personally. If you had a business and you are getting wealthy off of your businesses, and two cities offer you an office space, and one charges you 35% of your revenue, how much money you make on your business, and the other charges you 21%, where are you going to set up shop? Exactly. So that tax cut, it wasn't about charity for billionaires. It was about making America more attractive to business investment, which leads to more opportunities for American people. You have to set it up where businesses want to have their business come to America. But if you tax them to death, they're not going to come here. So then you're not going to have jobs. And do you wonder why you can't find jobs, or they're not paying you enough, or paying you a good salary? Because you over here acting like a pro-Democrat, being ignorant when Democrats want you to have handouts. And if you haven't seen from the shutdown, they willing to shut the whole shit down and they willing to shut the handouts that they want to give you, SNAP and giving you money to help you, and create all these programs as in subsidies to help you pay rent, but they don't want to put more money in your pocket. So what that tells me is they don't even trust you to be able to put more money in your pocket to make decisions for yourself, but they want to make it for you. And if you don't agree with them, or if it's something that don't go their way, like in printing more money for healthcare for illegals, and if you don't do that, and which is going to make more tax money be print, because now they're trying to pass the Affordable Care Act, which makes premium higher for everyday average Americans, but those everyday average Americans are paying taxes, and the cost of living is going up because they want to print more money to extend and keep the Affordable Care Act running by passing another bill in Congress to make sure they fund the program again. So it's a constant program that's being funded, and you suffer from it, but then you want to sit here and think they actually for you as Democrats when they really not. But then you want to be boohoo whining and crying when the government shut down and they not give you no SNAP benefits or helping you, because they willing to shut the whole shit down if you don't agree with them, and they can't put no more money to fund their own agendas instead of giving you the money and letting you pave your own way. So that tells you right there, why would you be government dependent in the first place, which Democrats is gung ho on making sure you are when it comes to your health care, food, and housing. So now for everybody saying, what about regular people? Let's talk about your paycheck when it comes to this big, beautiful bill in this article. This bill lowered income tax brackets across the board. So yes, you, the one watching this video, if you watch this far, give this video a big thumbs up and keep watching and subscribe, because I'm gonna tell you the truth. If most of the Americans are probably working 2 or 3 jobs, or they have 2 people in a household, because it's not a one household no more that can be able to sustain to be able to afford bills, because everything is high, right? So you're trying to hustle and breathe at the same time. Now, I know from experience working 2 jobs, you have to take out more taxes from your second job, even though if you have maxed out and take the most amount of taxes in your first job, but you also in your second job have to put $20 more or $30 more extra of taxes to be able to either um when it comes to taxes, to be able to balance out where you don't owe nothing, or you get a little bit of back, but at least you don't owe at all. So you're either going to break even with the government when it comes to filing your taxes, because you let your second job come out with more money. You let more money come out tax wise, so you're able to break even where you don't owe the IRS, or you're going to get a little bit of money back from the IRS because you had to let that second job, even though you already let them take out the max amount of taxes. But since you have a second job, they want you to take out extra so you don't owe the IRS, which means they taxing your dumb ass to death too, but you think they helping you. So when you look at it with this big, beautiful bill, and you working 2 jobs trying to hustle and breathe at the same time, your taxes actually are going down, especially if you're middle or working class. And if you didn't feel it in your paycheck because it was small or subtle, you definitely gonna feel it during tax refund season, or you will, right? Because if you haven't changed your withholdings, meaning how much money you took out extra on top of the maximum amount of taxes you already let come out your check, and you worked overtime, this tax refund gonna look fatter than you think, because it's a direct benefit of this big beautiful bill that I'm showing you guys on the screen. Hold on, I don't know why. Let me see something real quick.
Is paying their bills, being able to buy food at the grocery store. Harry Enton is taking a look and running the numbers on all of this. Politicians can say politician things,
yes,
but where are things with the economy right now and how people are feeling about it?
Yeah, what President Trump is trying to sell, the American folks aren't buying, and we can see it pretty simply here. Take a look here. This is consumer sentiment, the current conditions. Consumer sentiment could be the current conditions or it can be future expectations. We're looking at current conditions. And get this, according to the University of Michigan, we are dealing with the worst ever view of current conditions dating all the way back since 1951. This is record-breaking in the way you don't want to be breaking records. And get this, Kate, it is down 30%. Consumer sentiment of current conditions down 30% from January when Donald Trump took office. No bueno.
That is significant and something you can't ignore. You shouldn't ignore.
No, you should not.
Ignore to your peril. But they do not feel good about the economy. How much are they blaming this on President Trump?
Yeah, it would be one thing that President Trump could ignore it if folks weren't blaming him for it. But take a look here. Trump's policies have worsened economic conditions in America. Look at this. We're dealing with a super majority here. We're talking about more than 3 in 5 Americans, 61%, who say that Trump's policies have worsened economic conditions in America. How about worsened your own finances? Again, we're dealing with a majority here. 51% of Americans say that Trump's policies have worsened your own finances. This is double trouble for the President of the United States. When you're dealing with consumer sentiment of current conditions being record-breaking in the wrong ways, being record-breaking for the worst ever since 1951, and you're dealing with a supermajority who say that your policies have worsened economic conditions in America, and you're dealing with a majority who say your policies have worsened the folks' own finances, that is, ay caramba, no good.
Yeah, no matter what, you would prefer to not have this.
No, you would prefer not to, Kate.
What about the slice of the electorate both parties need and is what decides elections? Independence.
Yeah, okay. And you know, oftentimes we talk about independence, and sometimes that group of voters includes folks who lean either the Republican or Democratic side. I decide to look at pure independents, those who don't lean towards either side. And look at this, disapprove of Trump on the economy. Among pure independents, we're talking about 4 in 5. 4 in 5, 79%. I'm laughing because you rarely ever see a number this high. 79% of pure independents disapprove of Trump on the economy. How about this? This is no outlier, Kate. This is no outlier because look at Marquette University, their law school. 76% of pure independents disapprove of Trump on the economy. When you put it all together with the approval ratings, it averages out to a net approval rating on the economy among pure independents of, get this, minus 58 points. Oy vey, as my mother used to say. This is the type of thing that is political nightmare fuel, and it is no wonder that a little bit less than a week ago, the Republicans went down to defeat in Virginia and New Jersey. If these numbers hold, a year from now, the Republicans can wave adios amigos goodbye to their House majority, and they may very well be bidding adios amigos goodbye to their Senate majority as well.
The economy was listed as a top concern. I know you know this, for voters in New Jersey, New York, Virginia. I know you've been all over the affordability issue today and for the last several months. Eggs, gas, dinner costs for Thanksgiving way down. But other things, as you noted, have gone up. Beef, coffee, auto repairs. Is this a voter perception issue of the economy, or is there more that needs to be done by Republicans on Capitol Hill, or done in terms of policy?
More than anything else, it's a con job by the Democrats. They're saying, they just have to say, you know, they put out something, say today costs are up. They feed it to the anchors of ABC, CBS, and NBC, and a lot of other, and, you know, CNN, and et cetera. And it's like a standard. I'll never forget they had used a word like manufactured. Do you remember the word manufactured? It's a manufactured economy. Nobody uses that word. Every anchor broke through manufactured. They do exactly what they say. It's such a rigged system. So are you ready? Costs are way down. Gasoline is going to be hitting $2 pretty soon, or around $2. Gasoline is at $2.70 now, and it was at $4.50 under Biden, under Sleepy Joe. When gasoline comes down, when energy comes down, and everybody agrees energy is down, We're drilled, drill, baby, drill. We're going like wild. We produce more gasoline, oil and gas in the last month than we ever have before, by far. And we're going to also end up filling up the national strategic reserves, which were taken out by Biden in order to try and win an election. Didn't work out too well.
So what's the catch? Why do people say I don't feel no difference? You saw the CNN, which they are pro-Democrat. You have a lot of these mainstream media companies. They're basically biased and root for the Democratic Party when they really should just be feeding American people the facts. But we know they're not going to do that because they chase headlines. But what Trump is saying, as you just heard, and he said costs are way down, and I can attest to that because I've seen it at the pump. Gas is at $2.70. To be exact, where I'm at is $2.79. So people don't feel a difference because prices are still high. Inflation, especially from the Biden years, left a permanent scar on people's wallets. So once milk goes from $2.49 to $4.99, even if it drops back down to $3.89, your brain is still saying, damn, this is expensive. So even if your real wages are improving, your purchasing power feels weak. So that's why people don't give Trump credit, not because he didn't pass good policy, like I broke down to you, what's going to be the benefit in your income tax when you file taxes this year. But people want the money right now and don't want to wait because you're going to get it back within 2 months. Bro, it's literally November. He just passed the bill in July. He just hit 1 year in his administration. The man did a lot in 1 year that any president has done in history. So I get it. The pain still lingers, but you can't put it all on one man who's just coming in and try to undo everything that has been done for the past 4 years in 1 year. That sounds a bit delusional or crazy. So again, that's the game. If the pain lasts longer than relief, voters forget policy and blame the person. And that's why I'm reminding you how the policy works and why he put it in place with no tax on overtime, no taxes on tips. You got a lot of waiters out there, and no tax on Social Security for seniors. He's putting more money back in your pocket. You got to get a man. You got to let it play out. At least get a man 2.5 years. It's only been 1 year, dog. Like you got to be real about this situation. So, because if it was you, you'll be saying the same thing. Oh, well, you can't rush me. Things don't happen overnight. And that's the problem with this generation. They want everything right now, right here. It don't work. The real world don't work like that. And that's just a fact. So, I don't know what's wrong with these people, but they've been fed this delusion by government dependent Democrats that you got to see benefit right now. And all they do is spend more money and subsidize, meaning they pass a bill in Congress to make you feel in the short term, oh, we helping you. But in reality is they screw you over in the long term because you're going to pay for it. That's like if you take out a loan right now, you're going to feel really, oh my goodness, I got money. Okay, when you start paying that loan back, you ain't going to be happy. It's the same thing with the economy. So if you want to do it the right way, get your money up, get some skills, get a good job, and you're actually viable within a company, that you have a skill set that they'll pay you an enormous amount of money, and then you'll get it the right way. You have to worry about taking out no loans and feel it afterwards after you have to pay it back, because you won't have to pay nothing back because you got it by hustling, getting the actual skill, and actually working your way up in corporate America, if that's what you want to do, or work in your business. It's going to take work. It's hustling. It's called hustle. Anything that makes you money is a hustle. You just gotta keep at it. So I don't know what's wrong with these folks. But anyway, let's go on to the next video.
No. President Trump's latest attempt to tackle housing unaffordability. What do you think that is? A 50-year mortgage. Darren Botello is on Capitol Hill for us. What's the administration looking to do here, Darren?
Hey, good morning, Stuart. So first of all, they're trying to offer relief to home buyers or potential home buyers all across the country with the nationwide housing crisis. And what they're offering is this 50-year mortgage. It's maybe for people who can't afford the 30-year mortgage, because this would potentially bring down their monthly payments. The president, by the way, Stuart, is receiving a lot of praise for this initiative, especially by Bill Pulte, of course, from the FHFA. With Americans struggling with how prices and also those interest rates, Take a look right here. Pulte actually posting on X saying, quote, "We hear you. We are laser focused on ensuring the American dream for young people, and that can only happen on the economic level of home buying. A 50-year mortgage is simply a potential weapon in a wide arsenal of solutions that we are developing right now. Stay tuned." This proposal is drawing comparisons to FDR's introduction of the 30-year mortgage and fulfills President Trump's promise to reduce everyday costs. Not every Republican, though, is on board, Stuart, with Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene criticizing the idea this weekend, writing on X saying in part, "It will ultimately reward the banks, mortgage lenders, and home builders while people pay far more in interest over time and die before they ever pay off their home." DC mortgage lender Chris Cox, by the way, rebutting those comments, telling me if it's not helpful to you, guess what? Just don't use it.
I don't really see where it can do any harm. We'll get maybe 1 out of 200 people into a house that wouldn't do it before. And I think just due to the fact that it's a 50-year program coming in, I don't really see why anybody should care. I mean, if it's going to help somebody in the end, that's great. And if it's not for one night, if it's not great for 199 people out of 200, no problem. Don't worry about it. But for that one person out of 200 who's got a unique circumstance, that's where this is really going to come in.
Those experts also saying this is a good time for those people to actually get into a home before next year when interest rates are expected to drop. Also, that means that home prices would go up, and at that time they could refinance. Stuart?
Now, we talking about this 50-year mortgage thing, right? Because that got people absolutely losing their damn minds. Oh my goodness, Trump wants you to be a debt slave. You'll die before you pay it off, blah, blah, blah. Listen, I'm not saying it's ideal because I wouldn't tell nobody to go do no 50-year mortgage. If anything, I tell you do a 15-year. 15-year mortgage. And actually, if you have extra money, throw it in your mortgage to pay it off faster, because then you'll actually be free to do more and you'll have more leg room and actually freedom and won't feel enslaved to a mortgage. The more you pay off debt, the more cash flow you have, which means you have more leg room to open up more opportunity to put your money elsewhere in assets and actually do the things you want to do. So what I'm saying is it perfect? No, it's not ideal for this 50-year mortgage. It's not an ideal thing. I'm not saying it's perfect, but again, people say they want affordability now, right? So you don't want to wait for interest rates to come down. You want to wait for supply. You don't want to wait for supply to catch up. You don't want to wait for zoning reforms, because a lot of people, what I mean by supply, like I told you about the supply side economics, is you having more cash flow, more money in your pocket. You don't want to wait, right? You want to own a home right now. And this is one way to do it. Is it risky? Yes, but it's also an option. Put that in your head. It's an option. You still have to choose to take out this 50-year mortgage. So I don't want to hear nothing about blaming Trump that he created it, because he's just giving you options. At least he a president that's giving you options. You know what I'm saying? So look, if you financially literate and disciplined and know how to invest your cash flow wisely, that longer long term free up money you could use to grow your wealth, right? Because these are for people that are big ballers, right? They just doing it for the F of it. Meaning, let's say, for example, they have a lot of money to pay off the damn house in cash, to buy the house in cash, which used to be the very big thing back then in the boomers era. Like when my great grandparents era, they used to actually buy homes in cash and save up and actually buy a home. But since the cost of living is go up, homes are expensive. So people that are wealthy, just to show that the banks that they are good of keeping up payments, because if you pay something off in a lump sum, that doesn't prove to the bank nothing. That just proved to the bank at that time you had cash. But if you pay in installments, they can say, okay, over time we trust you to give you some money because we see that you're responsible for making your payments. Now, all this 50-year mortgage is going to do is lower payments, but you're still going to be paying the bank 10 times more in interest over time. But someone that's actually wealthy, and what I mean by freeing up cash flow is they would just pay the payments for a couple months and then just pay the house off, because they want to show the bank, look, I'm good with a history of paying off things, right? So if you ever have to go open up an investment, because sometimes a lot of people may have the money in a lump sum, but they don't want to pay all of it in a lump sum. So they'll do the installments for a little bit, invest in it. Let's say they have that as a rental property. They take out a 50-year mortgage, but they really don't have to. They could pay the house off. Just for example, stay with me. So you go to the bank. You do the 50-year mortgage. You're showing the bank that you're responsible to make payments. You would revamp or whatever the house that you took a 50-year mortgage on. You renovate it, you gut it out, you do everything, you make sure everything look nice. You put tenants in there because it's a rental property, and then after a while, about like 4 or 6 months, you say, okay, you go to the bank. I want to pay the house off. Okay, well, you were only using the mortgage to free up cash within that time, so you can focus on renovating the house and getting tenants in. And now that it gave you a little bit of leg room, now you can say, okay, now I want to pay the house off. So it's not that you didn't have the money sitting there. It just gave you cash flow so you can move your money around wisely real quick and don't have to put out a lump sum. You get what I'm saying? But to an average everyday working Joe American, hell no, don't take out no 50-year mortgage. That's stupid. I'm just being honest with you. And the people crying about it the loudest probably weren't buying a home anytime soon anyway.
To be able to get it almost back to normal. And so right now, I think our Council of Economic Advisors estimate of how much harm there is to GDP is it's probably going to cost us 1 to 1.5 percentage points of the fourth quarter. But that doesn't mean we're going to get a negative quarter. I think if we had 2 or 3 more weeks, especially if it ran into Thanksgiving, we probably would have had a negative quarter. And remember, Martha, as you and I have talked about for years, if you get 2 negative quarters in a row, that's the R word. And so it's really great that we've dodged this bullet.
All right. Well, that is good news. In terms of the president rolling out this idea, and we've talked about this over the last several months, of whether or not affordability questions could be alleviated to some extent by individual rebates for low and middle income individuals. The president now looks like he's leaning towards a dividend of $2,000 per person that would be paid to everyone. What do you think of that plan?
Well, when we were passing the big, beautiful bill, one of the questions was, what should we do with the tariff revenue? And one of the things that I think people believed in the summer was that the best use is to reduce the deficit, reduce the debt. And it's really been working. So right now we've reduced the deficit by almost $400 billion this year. But one of the surprises since last summer is that, although it's not a surprise to Art Laffer, is that since we passed the tax cuts, we've actually had a big increase, almost $200 billion in tax revenue. We thought that it wouldn't be a big reduction like the CBO said, but we've actually had a big increase. And so I think that it's back on the table to think about what to do with those tariff revenues. And I'm sure that the president will discuss with congressional leaders whether because of all the extra tax revenue, there isn't more room to get checks back to people.
So when people hear that, what's the reality of it? When do you think that people would get these $2,000 checks in the mail from the White House, from this plan?
Well, again, it will have to be passed by Congress. But the reality is just this, that because of Biden's inflation, which averaged 5% over 4 years, that people on average lost about $3,400 in purchasing power. Yep. And they've gained about $1,200 this year, but there's still room to go. And so we're making up ground fast. But the fact is that people are still down about $2,000 relative to what their purchasing power was when Joe Biden took office. And so we understand that people feel like there's an affordability problem, but we're closing the gap fast. And with these policies and potentially rebate checks, we might close the whole gap really, really fast.
There you have it, folks. There you have it. So you gotta chill out, man. You gotta relax. You gotta relax. You gotta relax. So now I want to show you this guy who's basically like 50-year mortgages, and he's like melting like a damn like ice cream in an ice cream cone. My man is having a fit. But like I said, this is an option. Because people want affordable now, right? You have lower payments for 50-year mortgage. Trump is giving you options. And nobody telling you to take it and give you a pill and make you swallow it. But check this out.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but this idea right here is quite possibly the dumbest thing I've ever heard from a presidential administration. If you were unaware, the Trump administration, in an effort to make homes more affordable, is pushing the idea of a 50-year mortgage. Do you understand how fucking stupid that is? Like, not even talking about the fact that you never have equity in the home. You fucking pay so much in just interest, and that the only people that would make money from this, the only people that get any value to this, are the people who originate the loans. Like, they would make mountains of money. But also, like, this is the ultimate just fucking kicking the can down the road. Like, this is, like, I'm so...
It's only kicking a can down the road if you the individual that wants to finance your lifestyle, because that's what Democrats sell to you, and actually instead of give you money to lead to financial freedom with you being financially disciplined to make the right decisions wisely, but also instead of financing your lifestyle, because a lot of people show for things. You can be a millionaire and still be broke financing your whole life, or you could be a millionaire and be wise and actually build assets that actually fund your lifestyle and not cost you to be a slave to debt your whole life.
Mad at the Trump administration for this, because this is showing me that they're not paying attention to what the actual problems are. You know, like maybe, I don't know, maybe cap interest rates. I don't know, maybe get corporate spending out of fucking home buying. I don't know, maybe address zoning restrictions that don't allow you to build homes. Maybe open up more land for development. I mean, fucking anything but 50-year mortgages. Because that is the dumbest fucking idea I've ever heard from a president ever. God, I support Trump. But on this, he can go fuck himself.
Well, that's the way to put it. But at the end of the day, it's an option. So you're getting mad at Trump. That's what I mean. What's up with this blame Trump card? Anything not to take responsibility to help people be responsible for their actions. You should be just saying, look, this is an option. Do I suggest to take it? Would I suggest anybody to take it? Average working American Joe? No. 50-year mortgage, you'll be paying you'll be right. You'll be paying the banks for the rest of your life. The banks are having a ball with this. But you don't have to go down this route and actually give people solutions instead of complaining and blaming Trump for giving you an option. You say you want a home, you say things are unaffordable, but he's trying to put more money in your pocket, and he's trying to reset the economy to make sure more money go in your pocket. You get bigger refunds, because like I said, all a refund check is, or a tax return or a tax refund is basically the government saving your money for at the end of the year, and you file your taxes to report the monies that you have made income-wise throughout the year, and whatever monies you get back, that's basically your money that's being saved at the end of the year to give it back to you. And Trump is trying to actually empower the people with the freedom of making health savings account, where health insurance companies don't determine what covers you medically, but give you the money, and you have the option to pick an insurance that fits your lifestyle, but also humbles the insurance companies to not think they can run your life because you need us more than we need you, when the insurance companies really need the people to pay the premiums. So they'll be more respectful and actually be humbled and more humane about the price when it comes to, in this case, a service, when it comes to healthcare coverage and health insurance wise. And they'll actually see that the hands is back in the power of the people, and you have to listen to the people. And if things is too high, even though individuals are getting money in a health savings account, because Trump is trying to give money to individuals to pick their own health insurance premiums, then the health insurance companies will go, we need to make adjustments because people ain't rocking with our health care coverage. People are not rocking with our health care. Let's say people are picking Aetna over United Health Group. United Health Group is going to go, we're having a drop in consumer or customers taking our insurance company and rocking with us. We need to make sure that we're making adjustments to make it affordable and actually get our consumers back, our customers back who want to rock with us to get healthcare coverage. It's the same thing with the banks. I mean, with housing, right? If you wait and be patient, and Trump is basically trying to make sure money goes back in your pocket, you get a big refund and put more money back in your pockets to give you choice, and you pave your own way and take the control from the government and taking less government. What the thing is, condoning and promoting less government in your life instead of government controlling your lives, then you're able to make the option for yourself, because Democrats in the government, when it comes to Democrats in the government, they believe that Americans are too dumb and ignorant enough to make choices for themselves. That's why they make it for you. And it's not even your best interest, because the cost of living is high. Health insurance premiums are high. And now if you want to be technical, instead of blaming Trump, that's why Trump got to give you this 50-year mortgage option in the first place, based on the Biden administration from the previous 4 years, because they made the cost of living so high. But you want to get in a home so bad, but you don't have to take this route. You can wait and let the economy benefit off the big, beautiful bill within 2.5 years. Trump only been in office for a year, just about. You just hit a year. It's not going to happen overnight. Rome wasn't built overnight, right? So, come on, man. Get out your feelings, bro. My man got too much estrogen going on, not enough testosterone and masculinity. But now I want to go to 15-year car loans, right? And then we're going to end the video here. So she's like, what up? Let me show you, family. 15-year car loans. 15-year car loans. No, it's effing 15-year car loans. I can't take it. And it says from the White House website, White House posted this by President Donald J. Trump, as he continues to work hard to make the American dream accessible to everyone. President Trump today has asked the Departments of Transportation and Commerce to make vehicle ownership for all a reality by introducing 15-year car loans. Secretaries Duffy and Lutnick are already working on it, delivering for America. Now, look, all it means in translation is 15 years, the longer that the bank give you from expand, the longer that the more the bank stretches out your car payments, the smaller the payment you have. But you pay 10 times more if you just say, okay, you know what? If you say, you know what? I am just going to pay. I'm going to go with the 15-year mortgage, because a lot of people focus on the payment, but not actually focus on paying the car off. Now, you may need a car desperately at that time. You say, I'm going to go with the 15-year car loan, but any extra monies, I'm going to actually put to the amount of what the car cost. So now you're not playing around. You just took the 15-year car option because that was the affordable right to get you in a car, because it was the lowest car payment, and you still have some money to survive and pay groceries and stuff, but you don't have to succumb or actually just feel like, oh, I got to pay this car off for 15 years. You could put down extra money to hurry up and pay it off. Now, would I advise anyone to take a 15-year car loan? No. If anything, do the normal typical car loan, which is 60 to 72 months, which is 5-6 years car loan. The payment would be higher, but that's why a lot of people are complaining, and Trump is giving you an option. You want affordable right now, he give you a car option now. But you can pay the car off faster. You don't have to just say, oh, I got to wait for 15 years to pay the car off. But again, it's an option. Do I condone anybody doing it? No. Get a car that you can pay off that fits your lifestyle, fits your needs financially. Stop trying to show off to people that don't care about you. Get in cars that don't nobody care because you want to ride around in a Mercedes Benz. That's people's problems. They want to finance their lifestyle to show off to people, but at the end of the day, you the one have to pay and take care of the responsibility when it comes to car insurance and a car payment. But let me know what you guys think. Give this video a big thumbs up. I hope you got some vibe from this video. Peace.